What's up, guys? Welcome back to MMA Dynasty. We are going to be discussing Ilia Topuria, the aftermath of his fight with Josh Emmett. We know that he had one hell of an impressive, scorecard and a really solid performance. We're also going to talk about Strickland and Abus. And we're just going to really discuss this card first. So we may as well get into the main event first. What I have to say, and I'm sure that some of you have heard it, but I think that Ilia Topuria separated himself from the majority of the division. I think he's proven that he is a top five guy 100% with the way that he beat Josh Emmett, because say what you want about Emmett, not many people have beat him up like that. And I think that he is without a doubt a future champion because he's only 26. And it's easy, guys, to underrate that performance, but he's 26. You always have to look at that with like, holy shit, this guy's young. And he looked really composed. That's what impressed me the most. His composure is what really got me. But I don't think he's beaten Volk though. But yeah, what do you think, Jacob?
I was very impressed. I almost was more impressed than if he would have knocked him out in the first round, to be honest. Just because I think we saw more to his game, new elements to his game that we haven't seen, like the defense, the rolling and the punches, the high guard,
Yeah,
the leg kicks. That's what we were talking about for the coming weeks. We were saying that Topuria needs to leg kick more. He doesn't leg kick enough. When he does, he does very well with it. And he did a lot of leg kicks. He was beating up Emmett's legs. I was very impressed. I was more impressed than if he would have gotten the first round knockout, because there's not that many times where you fight Josh Emmett and don't get hit, like stunned once at least in a 5-round fight. Like, that's pretty crazy. His defense is what really impressed me. His defense's leg kicks is what impressed me the most, I would say, and the
got
composure.
really good low kicks.
Yeah, but that was not in his game until this fight. Like, he barely kicked in his previous fights. He did kick Mitchell a little bit, and when he did, he was hurting his
I
legs.
just think I wish he would do it more though, because it's so vicious, and
He's got good
he's
leg
got a
kicks.
strong low kick. Yeah,
He's got very good leg kicks, and I think that's what he needs to continue doing as he continues fighting and continues maturing. But I was just impressed with his, the composure, the defense, and the leg kicks. Like, he really improved since his last fights. Like, he had a game plan, and he didn't, like you said, he didn't change his game plan. You know what I mean? Like, he continued, stayed composed, didn't try to force the knockout, stuff like that. And I thought that was very impressive, especially for a guy who's 26 years old, and who, when you're 26, you're not that mature of a fighter, and he was fighting like
yeah,
someone who's been in the UFC for like 10 years. So I was very impressed.
yeah.
I
He's
know,
wise beyond his years for
yeah,
sure.
and in the past, it's his defense was a little sus. I thought it was more the head kick defense than the boxing defense, and Josh Emmett doesn't really go for head kicks. I think he went for one and didn't work. But even his regular defense was not that sharp ever. Like, he was rolling punches. He was his head movement was really good, and I was very impressed. I truly was. Josh Emmett was super tough though. Also, um, I was a bit surprised that Topuria, when he got him down, I think in the fourth round or one of those rounds, he got him down a couple of times, that he didn't go for a submission, and he was just trying to go for the ground and pound. But I mean, look, it is what it is. He had a very impressive performance.
I mean, yeah, the fifth round, Josh Emmett, even though he was showing heart, he had nothing connect
Yeah, I mean, I
successfully.
didn't under. Do you think the fight? By the way, do you think the fight should have been called off before? Like, Emmett's corner should have called it off, or
I felt like after the fourth they could have done that, but it wasn't bad enough to the point to where we saw what happened in the fifth. Emmett didn't get destroyed worse than he
oh,
did
he
in the
just got
fourth.
grappled, and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. So I feel like it was fine, but he wasn't going to win that fight. It was pretty clear.
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed by Emmett's toughness, though. I have to say, I was
Yeah,
very impressed by his toughness. He's always had a good chin, but I don't think he's ever shown toughness like this before. But
no,
by the way, though, Emmett hits like a truck. Like, the speed of
he
those,
does hit hard for sure.
the
He hits
speed
hard.
and the power, you could just see, just like, maybe that's a bad thing that we could see it, but the power seemed very legit. So
Yeah,
I think he's probably the hardest hitter, not Ilia. I would say Emmett is
I
probably.
don't know, man.
You think Ilya hits
I would
harder?
go with Ilia because who's the one dropping the other?
That
Like
is true, but I mean, who Emmett was not hitting Ilya clean. You know what I'm saying?
I mean that is true, but he did tag Ilia. Like there were a couple moments. Emmett hit Ilia with a good shot on this part of the dome in the first round. Ilia ate it. Ilia did get. It's not like Ilia didn't get hit. He got hit in this fight, and he was tough. He took big shots. It's just that Emmett is not like sleeping people with
Mm-hmm.
every shot, and
You think Ilya hits harder? You think Ilya hits harder?
yeah. I mean, Ilia definitely, in my opinion, is the harder hitter, and I just think he's better. Like, here's the thing, though, and I just have to bring this up. And I brought this up before. Beating Josh Emmett after Yair softened him up and served him on a platter was not like it's a good win.
The way he did it, though, and the things he showed,
The way he did it was excellent. But again, like I think that we can still use the eye test, and say that even though Ilia Topuria is definitely proven, I think it's a little too soon for the guy to be in there with Volk. Now, that being said, Volkanovski needs new contenders. I think that's fine. But he's about to fight Yair, and I have to say, Yair, to me, that's a bigger test than Ilia, just because Yair, I just think he's more unorthodox. He's got more tools in the bag. He's a little more, dangerous when he's put on his back. And I think that Volk would be able to just stand with Ilia. I think that fight would be a standing battle. And on the feet, the difference between Volk and Ilia Topuria is I still think Volk is faster. And I think his volume is a lot greater. And I think that Ilia Topuria, he's going to be able to beat up a lot of guys, but he still needs to add a couple more wrinkles to his game.
Yeah, so in terms of what's next, I mean, obviously Volk makes sense because Volk needs new contenders. I would like a Max Holloway fight for a Topuria. I mean, we got to think like Topuria is a guy who gives a ton of damage. Max gets hit a lot. So even if he can't put Max out, like I think the judges would go based off the damage and he could get a decision win against Max Holloway. In terms of a Volkanovski, I think that's where it gets a little tricky because I can't say I'm not like super, like I'm like.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
I'm super impressed by that performance. Maybe Volk performance would be very similar. It's not about that. I just think that, we can only base that off. We can only like base so much off that performance because it's Josh Emmett. You know what I'm saying? Like we could like, it's hard to really say he beats Volkanovski right now. I would probably pick him to beat Volk just because Volk is 34 going on 35 in a smaller division. And I think Topuria's got tons of momentum. He's only improving. His improvement from the Mitchell fight to the Emmett fight was super dramatic. Like, what's his improvement going to be when it's finally?
I don't, but that's the thing, though. I don't know if I can necessarily say his improvement from the Mitchell to the Emmett fight was insanely dramatic because, like, for sure he's improved. He's improved, but in my opinion, it was a different matchup, and that's why I think like I don't necessarily know if we just saw like an Ilia Topuria that didn't exist 6 months ago. I just think we saw an Ilia Topuria in a different matchup.
Okay.
And
but that's good.
It's a good thing. No, it's a good thing. But the reason I'm and I have to say this, I think that Volk is licking his chops.
No,
I really do. I think Volk is licking his
chops.
chops because think about it like this. Emmett didn't get finished.
Yes, but okay, like that's not what
Volkanovski is not only a level above Emmett, he's a level above Max. Max is not only a level above Emmett, he's a level above Kattar. Kattar is a level above Emmett. It's like there are so many more levels in the division.
Kattar lost to Emmett.
Kattar got robbed, but it was a close fight. And hey, I think that Ilia proved that he's a lot better than Calvin Kattar. 100%.
Okay, but
Volkanovski is too fast. I understand why they're both short, stocky guys. Volk is not Josh Emmett. He's
I know, but like
1,000 times ahead of him.
And I understand you picking Volk. It makes complete.
Yeah.
It's completely fair. Like I'm not going to say that Topuria is it's going to be an easy fight for him. I'm not saying that it's 100%.
I think he has to KO Volk is what I'm saying.
No, I don't think so actually. But so what I think is, I don't think it's guaranteed that he's going to beat Volk. I just think the younger guy who's just is continuing to improve, undefeated. He's super hungry. Like these small lighter divisions, they struggle, like, with the age. Like they like, I know Volk hasn't shown any signs of, like, decline.
Slowing down yet.
He's about to be 35. Like, at some point it's gonna happen. I could just see it happening with a guy like Topuria, who's 26, hits very hard, all that stuff. But in terms of that matchup, I don't know. He may have to finish him. I don't know. I don't necessarily know if that's the case. I think he could maybe, do a lot of damage to Volk potentially, or like drop him a couple times. But yeah, I don't know if he needs to finish him. But in terms of that matchup, I mean, it's hard to predict. But I'm gonna pick Ilia just because he's younger and I think he's improving. I think
The
Volk.
thing is, though, Volk is still 3 years younger than Emmett, and
Yes, but
no, well, now he's 34. He's gonna be 35 when he fights Ilia. 3 years younger than Emmett with a lot less miles on him. Volk started his career late.
Though. Matchups are matchups, every matchup.
Yeah, but the matchups are Ilia Topuria fighting a stocky guy again. This time it's a guy that's much faster and much smarter.
But I mean, you got to realize, like, Ilia is still improving though. He's gonna improve even more when he fights Volk. Like, that's gonna.
I think Volk is still getting better.
But we don't really, like. I mean, yeah, but at some point, like, he's gonna start declining, and like he's
at some point, yes. But the thing is, if Volkanovski, this matters too. If Volkanovski blows past Yair, and like dominates Yair, like I'm not picking anyone to beat him,
dude. It's just, I mean, yeah, but it also depends upon when the fight happens. Also, I think that's a
for sure
thing.
I think that if I'm Ilia Topuria, I want to fight someone else first. But if I'm the UFC, I want to make the Ilia and Volk fight next,
or Ilia Max. I want to see Ilia Max.
The issue with that is that they're going to be canceling out a contender for Volk.
Max is not losing. Max is not beating Ilia. I'm sorry. He's not going to.
He could. He definitely could.
Max is not. No, Ilia is not fucking Arnold Allen. He's not. Like, Ilia does damage to his opponents. Max gets hit a lot. Like, that's going to, like, even if Max lands a ton of strikes, he's gonna fucking, his face is gonna be fucking like blood. Like, he's not gonna be able to see out of one of his eyes. Like, he's gonna have tons of blood. The judges will give it to Ilia, and they're gonna be biased towards Ilia too because he's an up and coming contender. Like, I'd be fine with seeing that matchup, and I would honestly, I would like to see that match before he fights Volk. I would. I know it's risky, but I believe in Ilia and that he can.
I understand that too, because of course, like, if he doesn't beat Max, then it's like, well, we kind of know how that would end with Volk.
Look, styles are different. Obviously,
styles are different.
Every matchup is different, but I think the Max matchup is a good fight for Ilia. I truly believe it is. I think it's a better matchup for Ilia than Volk. I believe that. I think it's for sure a better matchup for Volk. I think Volk is a tough matchup for Ilia. I do. I would still pick Ilia, but it's a tough match.
How do you think Ilia gets it done? Because
against Volk,
again, I'm looking at Josh Emmett. It's not like Josh Emmett got completely and utterly made to look like a fool for every round. Like, in the first round, he landed good shots. In the second round, he landed good shots.
You gotta fight like that against Emmett, though, because, like, yeah, look, okay, we can go to the Yair matchup. I know Yair looked great, but he did get hurt at one point. Like, Ilia
barely got hurt, and he finished Emmett and put him in a body bag.
Yes, but Ilia could have went super aggressive, and like, he just didn't want to risk getting hurt, and I respect that.
I do too. I do too. But the thing is, Yair didn't get hurt, and also
he did get hurt.
Yeah, but it didn't do anything to him. He got rocked for a second.
But you gotta fight like that against Emmett for the most part. Yair also is a crazy striker who's got like all these kicks. Topuria doesn't have that, so it's a little bit like, it's still a little bit different. But I don't mind.
I just think Volkanovski, whereas Emmett is missing these shots, Volkanovski's landing them, and Volkanovski's not getting hit in return.
But you got
genuinely think he would get hit a lot less than Emmett, and he would just land.
But you also got to realize Topuria is going to be a lot less worried about the power of Volkanovski.
That's true.
That is a factor too.
Yeah.
And look, I don't. Again, I don't think that at this point Topuria is just going to 100% beat Volk. Obviously not. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
I think I just have to go with a younger guy. Like I have to. But look, none of this like matters until after the Yair fight, though. Like like we have to see how Volk looks in that
Of
fight
course.
because, like you said, if Volk runs through Yair, like it's gonna be tough to pick Topuria. It will.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be
If he gets
tough.
beat by Yair, it's like, well, the whole conversation's kind of fucked
Yeah.
because then Volk's decline has begun.
We just have to see this we have to see the Yair fight first before really like going into this because we don't know what Volkanovski will see. Like we don't know.
Yeah,
we truly don't know.
that's
Because in
true.
the Islam fight, he obviously looked impressive, but that's just like that's a guy against a wrestler and a lot of grappling exchanges. Like this is like back to his 45-pound division, back to like the strikers, stuff like that. So like we don't know how he's going to be fighting. Like we don't know if he's taking a step down with speed. That is a factor because Islam was a weight class above. So he's obviously not as fast. So maybe Volk did take a step down in speed. We don't know that. So I think we need to see this Yair matchup before anything. And I think Volk should beat Yair, but it's not a guarantee at all, by the way. Like I'm starting to think that Yair may win the fight. Straight up. Like as time goes on, like
Yeah,
I'm starting to, and look, I would obviously want Volk. At this point, I want Volk to win just so we could see the Topuria Volk matchup. Because I think that would be a great match. I want to see Topuria fight for the belt as soon as possible. So I guess right now I'm cheering for Volk. Because if Volk loses, they're going to do the immediate rematch.
yeah.
So I'm cheering for Volk at this point. But I have this weird feeling that Rodriguez is going to knock him out. Because you know how like we talked about
Of
this in the
course.
past that like when there's all this talk about we're gonna see this matchup, we're gonna see
Yeah,
that matchup, they always lose when they're getting
yeah.
older. They always lose. And I'm kind of getting a similar vibe with Volk. Not saying he's overlooking Rodriguez. I just think when we hear all these talks, like it always something bad happens, And now we're hearing the talks like Volkanovski versus Topuria next, like combat's talk. Literally post that picture, and I'm like, he still has to get past Yair, and then
That's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm worried for the Yair matchup, of course. I
dude,
think if Volk survives the first two rounds, like I think Yair's way to win is in the first couple rounds. Like I do understand that Yair could still finish Volk later on in the fight, but I just think once Volkanovski gets momentum, it's really going to be his style of fight. And
mm,
once Volk starts to build confidence, it's like he just gets into a flow state. Once he starts having success, when Volk like starts hitting people early on in fights, he starts yelling at them. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that's a good sign for Volkanovski if he's going to start yelling against Yair. But man, Yair's a worrisome fighter. He's
dangerous.
there's two ways I think this one's going to go. Either Yair's going to get in there and start having more success with Volkanovski than anyone ever, and we're all going to be like, holy shit, this is a war already, and Volk's fighting for his life. And then Yair has himself a serious chance to knock Volkanovski out and hit him with a head kick and rock him, finish him off. Or Volk's going to make him look silly. And I think that's possible. I
He's
think
gonna maul him.
Volkanovski's striking is insane.
He's not gonna
And I
make
think
him look silly on the feet. He's gonna just maul him.
when I say he's going to make him look silly, I mean like Volk will not get hurt on the feet. He's going to be popping Yair with the jab. He's going to be closing the distance, taking him down, beating him up. And then by the time the fourth round is here, we're going to be looking at Volkanovski just completely maul him. That's what I think. So there's two ways in which that fight goes, but I'm going to go with the second. I think that in the third, fourth,
More
it's going to be like
likely.
that Ortega fight where Yair had like one moment and now Volkanovski's like pummeling him into the canvas and everyone's saying, holy fuck, like this is the best guy in the UFC still. So that's what I think we're going to see.
I think so. I think one of the two. I mean, that's the more likely thing. But I can also
Dude, I hope he does because then he's going to be still the pound for pound best guy. And I hope Aljamain submits O'Malley so I don't have to see Ilia fight Volk.
No, dude, Ilia's next. No, they don't care about Aljo.
The thing is, I'd like Ilia to fight Volk, of course. I think that'd
But
be a
that's
more
like the
interesting
biggest
matchup.
matchup. That's a huge. It's not even like look whether you
Well,
like.
then, Aljamain ain't gonna move up.
He's still gonna move. Like so, this is how I kind of
I
see it.
can't see a champion moving up for a number one contenders fight.
This is how I see it. It's like this Topuria matchup. Like even if I'm nervous for Topuria and you're nervous for Volk, this is a great fight You know what I mean? Like this is
Yeah,
just
it is a
super
good fight.
great fight. Like the unknown is what's entertaining about it. You know what I mean? Like
That's, I mean, it's the same thing with Yair. Like all these fights that
dude, no,
Volkanovski has no, dude, I'm telling you right now, Yair gets me more excited. Yair scares me.
dude, we'll see
Ilya
what the
does not
build up.
scare me as much.
We'll see what the build up. You know, when the fight gets signed, and you know we're hearing a lot of this stuff. I think it'll beat Topuria because
The thing
Topuria
is, though,
never
if Volk
lost.
destroys Yair, then it's just going to make me believe that no matter what stylistic matchup you put in front of him, he's going to end up dominating the guy. Like Islam is the one guy that I think right now can stand with Volk because he's so big and like he's just, you know, clearly he's in his own right one of the best on earth.
Yeah.
Look at what Islam did to Charles. Like people overlook that win. We know how good Charles is, you know, and look
By
what
the way,
Islam did.
I think Topuria beats Charles. I think
That's
he
a tough
does.
one, man.
Dude, I for sure think he does.
Again, beating Emmett, bro.
Yes, but
If he were to beat Max, they'd be like, all right, this is possible.
I
But
think stylistically that's a good matchup for Topuria.
it's a good matchup for most guys until they get hit by Charles. That's what
Yeah,
I was saying. It's like we were like, this is a good matchup for Beneil, and then he got hit. You know what I mean? And then it's like Charles hits like a truck.
Topuria's a way more skilled fighter than Dariush. Like, let's be honest.
He's more skilled, yeah, on the feet.
So, I mean, on the ground, he's very good too. Topuria, he just has.
I wouldn't say he's on the same level as Beneil on the ground.
We don't know. I mean, we
don't know that yet. Yeah,
he's a beast on the ground too. Like, I mean, that's what it in Max. I think with Max, you can also take down Max. Like who is, I know Max is good takedown defense, but based off what? Like, you know, like
I mean, to be fair, Max actually has stuffed a lot of takedowns from
but
Volk.
like I mean, like
and he stuffed a couple from what's his name? Max has stuffed takedowns from, I'm trying to remember, Frankie stuffed a bunch of takedowns from Frankie.
Yeah, but let's like
Edgar's a good wrestler, man.
The new MMA is a bit different, you know, it's always evolving. And you know, Frankie doesn't
Topuria could take him down. The question is, could he continuously do it?
He would. I think I want to see the Max matchup. I actually love that matchup for Topuria. You know, and
the fans are going to be saying, I don't think it's going to happen next.
No,
this is the way it happens. This is the way it happens. If Yair beats Volk, they'll make the Max
for
matchup.
Sure, 100%. Because I have a question. What if Yair beats Volk? Do you think would you pick Yair in the rematch?
Yes. Yeah. 100%.
So
I'm not picking a guy that's 35 that got KO'd or finished.
Dude, and Volk, bro. This is actually a scary matchup.
It is. It is.
This is like with the Max Holloway one, like I knew Volk was gonna win. Like, and there wasn't the threat of the knockout. Like
that's the thing. I was confident Volk was gonna get it done.
Yeah, but then with Yair, there's just the threat of the knockout. Dude, I just get this vibe that even if I know you disagree, but I get this vibe even in the 5th round, Yair could knock out Volk.
Oh no, I'm aware of that. I just think that, you know what? I actually don't think so. If Yair makes it to the 5th, I think that's a Volk fight because Volk would have brought him to the 5th. And like, I think that the Yair that we see in the 5th round is going to be different than the Yair that we saw in the 5th against Zombie. Like Volkanovski puts, Volk puts a beating on guys. You know, it's like, look at Ortega when Ortega was in the 5th round. Yeah, look at Max when Max was in the 5th round. Like everything that we see, look at, you know, Khabib's opponent's faces. Look at Tony's opponent's faces. Look at Emmett's
opponent's faces.
Volk does the same shit to his opponents. He beats their ass and bloodies them up and makes like Volk gasses people out. That's his number one thing. I think that Yair's got some good cardio, but Max Holloway's not putting the same kind of pressure on you. You know, Holloway's putting pressure, but he's not the same guy. Like Volk is more of a physical force when he like marches people down. He hits harder. He's like, once he clinches you, he kind of wears you out. Like he grinds on you. He's just a more physical guy versus Max, which is Max is like the boxer who's going to put volume on you and put a different kind of pressure on you. But I think if Yair's in the 5th, I think he's going to be like.
That is true with the faces. Dead. Yeah. All their faces get destroyed. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe.
Dude, I'm telling you, Volk's going to fuck him up, bro. Dude, he's going to beat his ass.
I could see him also.
I know. Yair's dangerous, man.
You know, Yair
finished Emmett like he was nothing.
I don't understand why they would have done like the Max and Yair fight back then was such a stupid fight to make. Like honestly, but at the same time, like Yair, we got to remember that was Yair when he was 2 years off.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if he rematches Max, I think he beats
Yeah,
Max.
I think he gets the better Max on the feet.
I think at this point he does. But dude, in Volkanovski, like I don't see him like fucking Yair on the feet. Like I don't see. I maybe he has a slight advantage on the feet. That's maybe what. Like, I don't see that being how he wins the fight. Like I don't see it being like how the Holloway fight, the Holloway 3 fight.
Dude, I just can't wait because I just thought about like the first few minutes, Yair lands like a grazing head kick off of the bald, dome of Volk and just rocks him and finishes him.
No, that's not how.
First minute.
I no way.
Dude,
I
I could see it, man. Volk just toppling over, like, one of those kicks that doesn't really just put you on your ass, but kind of makes you fall to one knee. And then Yair follows up with a body shot, and Volk's hurt to the body now. And Yair hits him with a knee to the head. It's going to be one of those finishes if he
Dude,
gets
I
him.
get
He's
the
going to have
vibe.
like 4 or 5 hard strikes in different locations on Volk's body. And man, it's a scary matchup for Volk. Like, very scary matchup. The thing is, if you're fighting Volk, it's like, again, you don't have to worry about, I don't want to get kicked. You just have to be in there for 5 rounds. You have to be good enough to be in there. And it's like with Yair, you just everything that he does is a nightmare.
You can't slow down at any point. You have to always be.
Yeah, you have to always be on point.
Like with Max Holloway, he didn't need to be that way.
Yeah, you don't have to. You can chill at range sometimes. He'll just pop you with a jab.
Yair,
1-2.
Yair, you always have to be like.
Yeah.
You always have to be.
Same thing is true for Emmett and Ilia too. Like you got to be on point as well. But Yair's so fast.
And even with Ortega too. Ortega, you got to also because of the submissions.
For sure. Yeah, on the ground.
Dude,
but bro, for Volk to get out of those Ortega submissions, I don't see anyone fucking him up on the ground. I think he's gonna be too much. I really do. I think he's gonna take this guy down. And think about it, he's coming off of the Islam camp. There's nothing better than coming off of an Islam training camp to fight a guy like Yair. Perfect training camp.
I think it's gonna. I hope he grapples for him, because if he doesn't, it could be a tough night.
Yeah, he'd be a fool not to.
Do you think he's going to grapple? Yeah.
Oh man, he's gonna shoot a takedown in the first round. I know it. I know he's gonna get that going because,
dude, I don't think he does.
Slow Yair down. You got to take him down.
I don't think he takes him down in the first round.
You don't?
No. I
really.
I think he's gonna want to strike with him a little bit.
Fuck that. I don't want to see it.
I can't we always say this stuff with Islam and Volk. We said Islam will take him down pretty soon on. We always say this stuff
but Islam took him down in that first round.
Later, but that was later in the round. I think that Volk is going to try to strike with him a little bit, and obviously that's risky.
I mean, to be fair, it's like you want to get the best of Yair out of there early, and Yair's going to throw his hardest shots early.
I think he should take him down. I think Volk's ego and that kind of stuff make him try to grab.
Volk's been training with these big Taekwondo guys, but it's like they're different than the smaller 45ers that are fast. You don't get the same speed from them. So facing Yair is going to be different. And also Yair, I'm just going to mention Yair popped he didn't pop for PEDs, but he got banned for missing a test a few years ago.
So you think he's going to be on the sauce?
I'm just saying, maybe there's no mystery as to why he's so fast. And
I mean, I think Volk is on the sauce too, probably.
Yeah, both. If Yair's on the sauce, Volk is probably on the sauce.
Volk is probably on the sauce too. So I don't
probably on some EPO or some shit.
Yeah, I don't think that's the factor. But I'm so excited for that card. I actually placed the parlay for that card. I did Marino to win against Pantoja and Jalen Turner to win.
Jalen is a great pick.
Great.
Yeah, I think that Dan Hooker's gonna get smoked in the first round.
And I think
he's gonna get KO'd. He's gonna get TKO'd within 4 minutes. That's my pick. 4 minutes.
I also think Marino is such a good pick.
Yeah, Moreno. I feel like a lot of people are going to be betting on Pantoja because he won the first few fights. So I like that. I think the odds. I'm guessing Moreno's still the favorite, but it's probably close. Yeah, it's close. Those are good odds.
You're not going to get those odds in many Brandon Moreno fights at this point. I think
excellent odds.
I'm super excited for that card. Let's pull that up. We're 2 weeks away before we talk about Strickland and Magomed. I want to pull up that card for a second. My Wi-Fi is really bad from the storm. Do you have the? Oh, I got it.
Whitaker, Duplessis.
Yeah, I mean
Jalen, Bo Nickel, and Trayshawn Gore. That should be. I'm actually excited for that.
The Bo fight.
Yeah, because I could see, if he struggles with the takedown, which I don't think he will, but if he does, it's going to be a big test for sure. Trayshawn Gore hits hard.
He does. I mean, he's not that good, but he does hit
Sean
hard.
Brady, Jack Della Maddalena. I'm
Do you
going
see
with JDM.
JDM's minus 180? You see that?
Jimmy Crute's so bad. I'm going to go
The
with Alonzo
rematch.
Menafield.
Remember the
KO.
last fight?
That's the first fight on the prelims.
Yeah.
Yasmin, Denise Gomez. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Bobby Lawler, Nico Price, don't
I'm
care.
not gonna lie, bro. Like some of these fights on the early prelims are kind of trash, but
Yeah.
shit. Cameron Simon and Christian Rodriguez is canceled. That sucks. That's
He's gonna get a new matchup though.
I don't know, is he? Oh
Hmm.
yeah, he does have a new matchup. I saw that he had Cameron Simon as a new matchup. He'll definitely win. It's a guy that doesn't have
Good.
any
He's
experience in the
pretty good.
UFC. So
Uh,
Robert Whitaker, Drickus. This is an amazing card,
yeah.
but I think UFC 291 is even better.
I think 290 could have been better though.
It could
Like
have been better. Yeah, they
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 could.
needed one more solid fight.
Mhm.
Either way, it's amazing. It's a great card.
Yeah, you can't complain. I mean, it's so weird that like we finally have made it this far, because like we had such a couple terrible pay-per-views, you
Yeah,
know, like this year was a weird year. Like the Brazil card was awful, like straight up.
yeah,
That was a terrible card. The next card was the Volk versus Islam, but that card was underwhelming other than those two top fights. That was
yeah.
an underwhelming card. And then you got John Jones versus Gane, which is an amazing card. And then you get Usman Edwards, like which it was pretty much a two-fight card, that like again, like we had a lot of
Dude,
like
yeah.
stacking the cards and then just the rest not being good. And then we had the 287, which was really good. And then we had two shitty, brutal cards, like with like the Aljo Cejudo card, and then the freaking the Canada card, which was horrible, let's be honest. The Jacksonville card was better than the Canada card, by the way.
Yeah, we have so many good cards.
Yeah,
The only
like
one that's not good is home and whatever.
yeah,
That's the
like
only one, but that's just, usually
and
there's not going to
then
be a great card.
Aljo versus O'Malley, like that's the best card of the year. Like
Yeah, that's a great, so many good bantamweight
that's the
fights on
best
there.
that's the best card of the year without a doubt.
Yeah, I
Like
can't wait for that. I
I
really can't wait for that. That's
even
going to be a great build up too. Think about it. Cejudo and Cheeto and O'Malley and Aljo at the press
where are
conference.
they gonna sit? That's what I was wondering. Like
Yeah, O'Malley's gonna have to sit next to Cheeto or Henry. I
he's gonna
think
have
he'll
to sit
probably sit
next,
next to Cheeto. And you know what? I feel like him and Cheeto are gonna be fine.
dude.
Um,
I think you got to put someone in. You got to put like Wei Lee in between or something. Like
yeah,
there's it's there's definitely gonna be beef there, and then
and
a
and
fight.
what's his name? Murad's gonna be at the press conference. Too, and
And
that
also,
that might be the best press conference ever.
and Ian Gary will be there
UFC
also.
292 card. Yeah, Ian Gary's gonna be there. Let's see. But knowing the UFC, they'll probably ask O'Malley like fucking two questions, unfortunately. UFC
No
292.
answer.
Wow, that is such an amazing card. Cody Garbrandt's going to be at the shit as
Yeah,
well.
he's
Rob
Mario Batista.
Font.
That's a good fight. Mario Batista.
Yeah, man. We're going to have Cejudo. Amazing.
GM3.
GM3 is on it as
Gregory
well.
Rodriguez, who's always entertaining.
Yeah. Excellent.
What fight are you the
Um,
most excited for on this card? Like I know we could be like, oh,
yeah,
Aljo versus
of
O'Malley, but
course. I would say
realistically,
outside of the I'm honestly not that hyped for
yeah,
Cejudo and Cheeto, but I'm excited for it, but it's not like the one that I'm most hyped for. I would say I am really, really hyped for Jeff Neal and Ian Gary.
yeah.
That's the one that I'm most hyped for. I guess Rob Font and Song Yadong will be dope, but I
Ooh,
feel
that's
like
gonna
I'm confident in Song. Yeah, I would just say definitely the Jeff Neal, Ian Gary is the one that hypes me up the most besides the main event.
yeah. I think for me it's Rob Font versus Song Yudong. I just
That's
think
going to be an amazing
that's
fight.
gonna be the most entertaining fight.
Yeah, dude. Song Yadong's going to march him down, and I think he's going to knock him out
You
in
think
like
he's
the
gonna knock
second
him
or
out?
third round. Yeah, my
He's
my
gonna fuck
prediction
him
is a
up.
Song Yadong. Dude, I feel like there are so many more finishes of bantamweight, not featherweight. Like, what's up with all these finishes not happening in featherweight and they happen in even lighter weight classes? Featherweights just can't fucking get these finishes going. What's the deal? I know Ilia did have a lot of finishes, to be fair, but like at the top of the rankings, there are tons of finishes in the bantamweight division. You know,
I don't know. I mean,
but
but
I'm
not
I'm
really
excited for
actually.
that fight because I think Song is Listen, I think Rob Font's definitely going to piece him up in the first round a little bit, but Song, he is so much more physical and just explosive than a guy like Adrian Yanez. Adrian Yanez is like a pipsqueak compared to him. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And Song Yadong is just gonna walk him down, and once he just lets the combination go, it's gonna be so explosive. I think he's gonna put Rob Font on his ass and beat him up badly. So I'm gonna go with Song Yadong TKO.
I think also the thing about Rob Font, like he gets hit a lot. Like
Yeah.
and Song Yudong hits very hard. So I
Yep.
feel like it's like it's he's gonna get knocked down at some point. And I he
Or just dropped. I could see him
yeah,
just getting dropped a bunch of times.
yeah, I could see that or just getting I think knockout since it's Song Yudong. So I think I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think Song Yudong hits the hardest in that division. Like over
I
Cheetah.
think I think I
Like
I think I would say yeah.
I think him over Cheeto. I mean, like we got to look at who Cheeto is doing it to.
I don't even think I'd say Cheeto because Cheeto is like he's knocked out guys with a bunch of kicks.
Yeah, like
I would go with Song Yadong for sure.
I think Song hits the hardest. So I think he will knock out Font, something that Cheeto couldn't do. He pretty much did, but like he
Yeah, yeah.
like at that round.
I would say that the hardest hitters, I would say O'Malley is in there. Jan hits pretty hard, but not the hardest. And I would
O'Malley
also
actually may
say
hit the
Song.
hardest. O'Malley may actually hit the hardest, but we still
I think
don't.
Song hits harder than O'Malley.
Yeah, I mean, Song's done it more. Like
I think Song. I'd pick him to beat O'Malley.
you really would.
Yeah, dude, I'd pick him to fuck him up.
I mean, O'Malley's sharp though. He's very sharp and
He's
like
sharp, but Song Yadong is not a pipsqueak, man. And
yeah.
he's not. He's not like, dude. We all forget, but that fight with Piotr Jan was very close, and
Yeah.
I think Song would take
Deep, yeah.
shots even better than Jan. And Jan didn't even get hurt that badly in that fight. He
Hit
got
once.
rocked
Oh,
once.
twice actually, because
Yeah, he got rocked twice, to be fair.
yeah, I mean, I think I think what's his name beats Jan, by the way. I think Song
Song.
beats Jan. I think
Dude,
they
Jan is just a worrisome guy at this point in his career. You
I
have no
wonder
idea what to expect now.
I
Like,
wonder what's his next opponent was because I thought it would be Rob Font. Like I thought that was the matchup for Jan,
I
but
guess we literally have no clue.
he's probably just gonna take a lot of time off,
I
honestly.
think it's good for him.
Yeah, just to reset. And you gotta give him a layup. You gotta give
Dude, yeah, you may as well give him a
you
layup.
gotta give
Like
him a layup. You gotta give
Cody Garbrandt.
Cody Garv, yeah, the winner of
After
the
if Garbrandt could even beat his next opponent,
I don't even think
Batista.
he will.
I don't think he
Batista's
will. I
gonna
don't
beat
think he's
him.
gonna lose that one.
But who else is in that division for Jan to fight? Because I think that you gotta give him an easy fight, like at this point, right? Like
Maybe Giannis and Font. I mean Giannis and Jan.
you give him Cruz,
Nah, dude, I don't want to see that. That's Cruz is
you
fucking
can give him
old
Pedro.
as hell. Pedro, nah, man. I don't want to see Pedro is not that entertaining. I don't want him in a big
And you
fight
gotta
like
get
that.
Jan,
I think Giannis or Pedro if you have to.
you gotta get him a win though.
Pedro is bouncing off of a win. I actually wouldn't mind that, to be fair. It's not that bad of a fight. I don't mind that.
Is Cruz even gonna fight because he's holding up a spot in that division? Like,
Bro, I think Cruz needs to hang it up.
yeah, he's holding up a spot in that division. It's just like
He needs to hang it up. He'll never get to the belt, and he's not dangerous at all. And I feel
doing
like
it
he needs
part
to be
time at this
dangerous.
point. Like
Yeah, Cruz's style doesn't work anymore, man. It worked back in the day. Like that little decision pillow merchant. That pillow merchant style, bro.
yeah, I mean
Serving
he
out
was
pillow
also a lot
hands
he was
and
also a
the
lot
footwork.
quick. He was a lot quicker back then
Yeah, he
too.
was quicker.
Like it worked back then because of like the age and stuff like that. Now he's
Yeah.
injuries and all that stuff. But that I'm excited for that 292 card. I think it's gonna be a banger. I would say I'm most excited for the Song Yadong versus Pedro. No, not Pedro. Song Yadong versus Font. I think that's just gonna be a banger. Obviously, Ian Gary versus Jeff Neal is gonna be super entertaining too.
Yeah.
Exciting. Cejudo versus Marlon Vera could also be very exciting. If Cejudo struggles to take Marlon down, like what happens then? Or hold him down, what happens? Like
Yeah.
Marlon Vera could maybe knock him out. Who knows? And then Aljo versus Song, like O'Malley. I'm not that excited for that fight, to be honest. Obviously when it comes, I'll be super excited. But I think Aljo will just fuck him up, to be honest. So I don't think it's that like, that exciting to me. But they booked a couple new fights also. some very good fights too. They're continuing the trend. They did Alexa Grasso versus Valentina. It seems like it's going to be on a fight night, which I'm excited for.
Yeah.
I think what happened was I think they saw that that Amanda Nunes versus whatever the fuck her name is, Aldana. They saw how bad that was, and they're like, all right, we cannot do that again. This is going to be a big fight. It would be bigger if we put it on a fight night headliner. And also it's on Mexican Independence Day, I believe. So I think that's part of the reason why, because they needed a card, they wanted a card on that day. So that kind of does make sense in my opinion. And I think MMA Joey said this too, but he said, don't be surprised if Moreno wins his fight, if they have him fight on that card too. Because I can see them, and I agree, because I can see them really stacking this fight night, just to give a lot.
Where's it going to be?
It's at T-Mobile.
T-Mobile in Vegas.
Yeah, it's at the.
I think that's good. Like, it would have been cool if they went to Mexico, but Mexico is probably difficult to go to.
It's tough to.
And yeah, I'd like that a lot. Brandon Moreno defending his belt against
anybody,
anyone. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like Albazi. Nah, you can't do Albazi.
Who else?
I mean, Cara France is booked to fight Cap. Oh, Pantoja. Perfect.
He's fighting.
Oh, no. Brandon Royval.
Oh, yeah. Dude,
yeah, Brandon Royval.
But I could see that. I could so see
Brandon Royval and Moreno. I'd like to see it. But to be honest, like, if he takes a shitload of damage, I don't know if he'll turn it around. But either way, they're going to stack that fight night. And I'd love to see a flyweight title fight on it. I'd love to see Grasso and Shevchenko more than ever. Now that it's on a fight night, I'm hyped because think about it. Like, dude, if they were charging $80 and like there's a fight like that on it, don't get me wrong, it's still an interesting fight, but you just can't get that hype for it, man. There's only a certain level of hype you can have for something like that. Unless it's Cyborg and Nunes, and that was way back in the day. That was like a fight where I was really looking forward to it. Unless it's like a guaranteed Joanna versus Zhang Wei Li, I'm not going to get like that crazy about it. Or maybe a rematch between a big fight that just ended in a massive KO. I don't know. I'd rather just see that on a fight night. And they're going to stack it. So I'm really looking forward to that.
They'll put Gaslam on it.
Gaslam, yeah.
They're going to make it good. I think they're
Bro, speaking of this fight night, this reminds me of when Hamzat was on that big Colby Covington and Woodley card. Where the fuck is Hamzat at, man? Where the hell is this guy at?
Never returning.
I think they're gonna have him fight, bro. I really want.
They're gonna have him fight Cannonier. They're gonna have him fight Cannonier.
I like that fight. Yeah, I really like that fight. But
what do you think they're gonna do that?
I think they'll probably make the Usman fight, man. But I just can't get that hype for it.
No, I'm not hyped for that because then if it's on a catch weight, like, what's the point? Like
yeah.
What's like what is that? What is the point? Like completely. Like is Hamzat the 180 pound champion at this point? Like
yeah.
Like what like what's his deal? Like I don't know.
But either way, I mean, we're gonna have some great cards. We're in for a great summer. But yeah, what do you think about the main event? Because I'm obviously gonna pick Strickland. I'm guessing you're rocking with Strickland too for this week.
I think Strickland. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't seen much of Abus. Like I saw. Yeah. Obviously, I saw his last fight.
Yeah.
Who did he fight again?
Justin Stoltzfus.
Yeah, I actually remember that fight like very clearly. It was on the Gon and Tuivasa card. I completely remember that fight. You know how when you watch fights, like on re-watch fights, and you're like, oh, I remember that. Like yeah. Like from these guys who aren't that big names, maybe. You're like, oh my gosh, I remember that fight. Like, remember when Topuria fought Ryan Hall?
Yeah.
Before I really knew Topuria, like I remember watching that fight, and then I rewatched it. I'm like, wait, he fought Ryan Hall. Then I was looking at that fight. I'm like, oh, I remember this now. Like
yeah.
I kind of got that with the Abus fight. So yeah, I mean,
one thing I just have to say is, dude, the guy has 3 fights since 2019. Do you know Bilal Muhammad? No, obviously. Well, do you notice Bilal? Like, he's one of his coaches is some black guy that likes to hang out with him on Unbedded and walks out with Bilal. That guy, I don't know if you know what Bilal Muhammad's coach looks like. He's always with him. He looks like he's 55. That guy KO'd Abus in like 2018. So Bilal Muhammad's old coach knocked Abus out in the PFL. And this dude was 40 when he KO'd Abus. And Abus since then has fought 3 times. 2 of them have been against guys in their 40s, and then he made his UFC debut.
So this
So
guy's just not going to be good.
yeah, he is a can crusher. He's a can crusher.
So why are they giving him this matchup?
Because he's got that I like to call it MVP-ism. Michael Venom Page, that flashy guy in Bellator, he just is a flashy dude, and he's got the Magomedov name, so they're gonna run him through the woodworks to get him to the top.
Yeah, I mean, I think Strickland by decision. I think that's probably what's going to be. I think like he's just going to fuck him up, similar to the Mavov fight. I kind of see it just being like that. I'm worried though that they may rob Strickland. I could see them robbing him just with this style of fighting Strickland. It's easy to rob a guy like that. But I do think Strickland wins like a decision, maybe 49-46, 50-45, something like that. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little excited, I guess. It's not a terrible fight. It's not like a great fight night. It's not a terrible fight night. It's kind of like in the middle. Is it at the Apex, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean that's decent. I mean, you can't really complain. It's obviously better than the home fight night, which I'm not looking forward to at all, by the way. And even maybe better than the freaking London fight night at this point, because that card not very good at all. Molly McCann is a co-main. But yeah, I would probably pick Strickland. I think I'm gonna pick Strickland 49-46, 50-45. But I wouldn't be surprised if he gets robbed. But what do you think?
I'm gonna go with I just think it's gonna be really similar to the Amavov fight, where Abus does well in the first round and can maintain some success here and there, but I'm going to go with a 49-46, 48-47 for Strickland too. I just think he's not going to finish Abus. Abus is, again, trickier than Hermanson. He's a little bit trickier than a guy like Uriah Hall and these older guys that Strickland's beat. But nonetheless, I'm looking at the Jared Cannonier fight. I'm looking at the Imavov fight. Look how good Imavov looked in his last outing. And look at what Strickland did to him. Again, Imavov had some success against Strickland, but this is what Strickland does better than everyone else outside of the top 5 guys, is he just drags everyone into boxing range. And most guys want to fight in kickboxing range, and that's what Abus does best. He likes to kick. He likes to throw these wiry kicks. Strickland's just going to march him down, make him miss early, and put him in boxing range, and nobody's better in boxing range outside of the top 5 than Sean Strickland. Remember, in the top 5, Strickland can get outboxed by Pereira. He can get outboxed by a guy like Whitaker, but outside, people aren't going to be able to stand with him like that. So we're just going to see Abus kind of get frustrated for 5 rounds.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not that excited for this fight, but Sean Strickland fights are always a little bit boring.
Yeah.
It's better than home again, that home fight night and a couple of fight nights we've had recently. I'm super excited for this summer, honestly, with these fights. I really had a fear that after this great start that there was going to be a huge drop off. Obviously, we had a 2-month drop off, but I thought it'd be like a pretty big drop off. But it seems like they're getting going again before the end of the year, and there's obviously going to be the MSG card. My fear though is that this is kind of making up for the December card, which would have been the McGregor fight. So I think that's kind of what they're doing in terms of putting all these pay-per-views out. But just now I just saw when we were on McGregor, he said he is going to return and he's focusing on getting a fight date booked.
That doesn't mean jack.
This reminds me of the John
Connor saying that doesn't mean shit, bro.
This reminds me of the John Jones situation, by the way. You know how when the John Jones kept saying he was going to return, all the talk of him returning, that's the vibe I'm getting of Connor at this point. He will return at some point.
Yeah.
Just it's going to be
it's going to be next summer, bro.
Yeah, something like that. I could just see it like that,
or in January or maybe February, but not anytime.
At that point though, I think they would save him for UFC 300. When is UFC? That's what I was thinking about. When is UFC 300 going to be? So,
294 is October. 295 is going to be November. 296 in December. 297 January, February. It's going to be in April. Connor's going to come back for April, or it could be end of March because they sometimes do 2 pay-per-views in March.
Yeah, they're going to do. Connor's going to be on the 300 card. I think for sure. I mean, you could be like, all right, let's get Connor a
UFC 300 is going to be Connor. It could be Jones, Pavlovich. I could see Jones holding up the heavyweight division.
Maybe. So
Or,
what do you
you know
realize?
what, it's going to be? It's going to be Yair versus the winner of Jamal Hill and his next opponent on that card as well.
Let's build a UFC 300. Like
All right, main event.
let's be
Main event.
somewhat realistic,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
at the
yeah.
same time we could be like a little bit like let's just think about matchups, like like timing, stuff like that. Because like I think the thing with the Connor thing is what the UFC could do is they could just be like, all right, look, put Connor Chandler in January and let's hope Connor wins so that we can put him back on UFC 300. But I think that's very risky, obviously. You know what I mean? So I think they may hold Connor out till that fight. And who do you think Connor would fight on that card? Do you think it'd be Chandler again, or you think it'd be like Oliveira or something like that?
I just think, for me, it doesn't matter who he fights because he's losing anyway. So, like, that's
Mm.
my take on the matter. I don't think Connor's going to fight anyone that I think he could beat. If it's Chandler, it's Chandler. He's losing. But I think the Chandler ship is sailed. I think Connor's most likely going to fight like a number one contender. And
Oliveira.
yeah, someone like that. If Oliveira loses to Islam, it's not going to look so good, you know?
What about Connor versus Poirier again?
I just don't think that the UFC is going to want to risk that. Like, how are we going to believe that
I
Connor's
mean,
going to
they're
beat
risking
Dustin?
regardless. Like he's,
But either way, I think that fight has happened too many times. People want some fresh matchup,
so
not
what do you
Dustin.
think is the fresh matchup for him? It's got to be the
Max,
Max. Ooh,
Max,
if
Max. If
yeah,
Max wants to bump up, I always like a Max Holloway and Connor fight. So
okay,
that's my pick for
yeah,
a one that actually would be interesting. I still think Max wins easily,
yeah,
but I think Connor would do well early.
yeah. What about you? So you think Jones is going to hold up the division till then?
I don't think the UFC is putting Jones and Connor on the same card. They never will give us anything like that. So
What about
I
Mike?
would say, I mean, I like it, but they're not gonna. UFC doesn't give fans those big cards. You know what I mean?
UFC
They'll do
300 though,
Leon versus Bilal. They'll do like Leon. No. They'll do Leon versus Shavkat.
or Chimaev. Chimaev's gonna be on UFC. Oh, Izzy,
Izzy
look.
Chamaev. Nah, dude, they
Izzy,
won't do Izzy and Connor. That's the thing. The UFC doesn't give us these
yeah, but
gold
it's
mines.
UFC 300. Like this is like
The thing is, though, you want Connor to. You don't want there to be a fight like Izzy under Connor because it just seems like less important. You don't want to have two big buildups going on at once because Connor's just going to be the bigger buildup, and Izzy will seem less significant.
What about just in general, like not have Connor on the 300 card and put Izzy for Chimaev for UFC 300?
Izzy and Chimaev, I fuck Connor, dude. I don't even care about Connor coming back if I
Izzy
get to
versus
see that,
Chimaev, UFC
bro.
300.
Yeah, like as a fan who cares about like the best fights, like dude, I could name 40 fights I'd rather see than Connor right now.
Izzy versus Chimaev, UFC 300. I
Yeah,
love
Izzy Chimaev, but if it's I think it's gonna be Connor though.
I don't think so.
All right, so then Izzy and Chimaev.
I think that's the only way Izzy will like fight Chimaev because
If
I
it's a
think
big moment, yeah.
you tell Izzy, look,
And then there has to be I would
you
say
gotta do Pereira and Jamal Hill.
co-main event.
Pereira, Jamal Hill as the co-main.
But Jamal might fight Pereira this year.
You really think that's
I
gonna
mean, if Pereira wins, he doesn't
or
take long
Pereira
layoffs.
or if Pereira beats Jamal Hill, Pereira versus Yuri.
Yeah, exactly.
Woo-hoo.
I mean, that's enough. I'll pay $80 for those two fights
Yeah.
easily. It just you
If
could make sure every other fight's shit. I'll pay for those.
I think you could convince Izzy to do a Chimaev UFC 300 fight.
Bro, Izzy's
I,
gonna
I
be like, he hasn't done anything, bro. Get him back to the contender series. He needs to build his way up. He's taking too much time off.
Cheeto O'Malley on that card
Feature
as
fight.
the
Okay, now
feature
we're
fight.
getting unrealistic though.
That could happen. That could
It
happen.
could, it could, but that's it. They'll give us like a Macy Barber, on the main card at
What
that
about
point.
Topuria Volk on that card?
Dude, there's no way they're doing all these fights.
Okay, so realistically, what I could see them doing is Chimaev Izzy, and then Alex Pereira if he beats Jan and Jamal Hill. Alex Pereira, Yuri Prohaska is the co-main.
Yeah.
I could see that, and then I could see I could see Sean O'Malley. I think Sean O'Malley is gonna fight on that card. Like I think he's the UFC loves him. He's young. He's like they want to market him. So I think they do put him on that card.
Yeah, they'll put him on there.
Do you think he'll be against Cheeto? You got to.
I mean, it doesn't really matter as long as it's O'Malley versus a guy that's gonna strike with him.
Uh, and do you think there's a chance that it's Volk Topuria on that card, or that fight would have happened already?
I think that fight would have happened already.
Dude, I feel like it's gonna be Izzy against Chimaev. I think that's what it's gonna
I think that's it. Unless, dude, it's either Izzy and Chimaev or it's Connor, because I don't think it's, or it could
or
be Jones.
Jones or Jones.
Those are the only options. It's Izzy, Jones, or Connor.
Yeah, that
There's
makes
no other way. There's no other way.
That 100%. Or if O'Malley beats
O'Malley. No, I'm talking about headliners. O'Malley's
Coleman,
not.
yeah,
O'Malley's not headliner.
if O'Malley beats Aljo, he'll be the co-main for sure. Like
he
for
could
sure.
be the feature fight. They could have 3 title fights.
Yeah, man, they're gonna do something big, like for sure on this card.
Yeah, they'll do something big.
But you're right.
But knowing the UFC, they'll give us like they'll give us Volk versus TKZ2. They'll give us Topuria versus Max. And then the feature fight is going to be like, Alexa Grasso defending her belt. And then other than that, it's going to be like Hooker versus Brad Riddell. Even knowing the UFC, it's going to be like that.
I think
Hooker versus Riddell is the feature fight.
What about Colby and Leon?
No, that's happening. That's happening way before.
I think
I could see Leon being on it if that's the other title fight. Like if it's going to be, Izzy or Connor, I could see Leon being the co-main for sure.
Do you? I think it's going to be it could be Jones too.
I think the UFC would be wise not to have Connor on UFC 300 though.
Yeah.
Just think about it like this. It's hard to say Connor can be the main event over a bunch of other title fights, and Connor doesn't want to be the co-main event. And why not just have 2 cards sell over 1 million rather than 1? So if I'm the UFC, I'm thinking Connor should do his own card because he's going to sell over 1 million, and we can stack UFC 300 to sell over 1 million. That's 2 cards that are going to sell over 1 million rather than just 1. So that's better. So I feel like they'll do Izzy or Jones. They'll do a co-main event with like a welterweight title shot, and they'll do like a bantamweight feature fight title shot.
A cheat.
Or it might not be O'Malley, bro. Could just be Merab.
Merab
could be champ. Like he literally
could be champ. We're not putting Merab on that card. Or Umar.
For UFC 300, they would if he's a champ.
What about Umar? Umar Merab for the belt.
Yeah, dude, something like that. Sandhagen versus O'Malley for the belt too would be sick.
That would be big. But I you're right. It's gonna be 3 people: Izzy, Jones, or Connor. 100%.
I don't think it's Connor though. I feel like the UFC would be dumb to do that. Now that I think about it, bro. Like, why would they want Connor on 300 when 300 is probably going to sell 1 million anyway? Because they could just stack it with other fights. Why not just have another pay-per-view where Connor could sell 1 million?
So you think it's gonna be,
unless he really wants on, like unless Connor's dying to get on 300, then I don't know.
But do you think like 300 be that much bigger if it's Connor?
Yeah, but the issue is that I think Connor's ego is too big to let him co-main, and I don't think the UFC.
He's not gonna. They're gonna make him a main no matter what.
But then, they're gonna be like people saying, "Well, Connor's not the." I don't care personally. I don't care who's the main and who's not. I'm just going to say, don't they have this thing with ESPN where they have to have a title fight? I think that's bullshit. I don't think that means
it's not a thing.
I think Connor's the exception. So
I think you gotta put up. It's gonna be one of those 3 guys. And if I had
to be fair, Connor's the guy that I'm least excited for out of any of these other matchups.
Yeah, I would say so. But I think we gotta look at each matchup. Like I think Jones and Pavlovich, I don't know if that's so realistic to happen just because I think Jones is going to retire if he fights Stipe.
He's not fighting Stipe.
So I think he's going to win in November and retire.
I don't think Jones is fighting in November.
You don't think so?
No, man. Dude, Jones is done. Jones is, as far as I'm concerned, he's out of the cage for another year.
But it's Stipe. It's on Stipe.
Dude, if it's on Stipe, then it's on Stipe.
I mean, it must be on Stipe.
Could be on Jones. Jones could be on a bender.
I don't believe that because Stipe
he could. Who's to say Jones is not also just drunk and out of his mind and giving the UFC a hard time?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I believe it's Stipe, but I mean, I think
Jones has been losing hype.
Yeah. I mean that would have been huge.
The fact that we haven't heard anything about Jones is making this lose hype.
Yeah, it is. You know, I mean, we saw him at the Nagano thing, like the face off, but like that, like, it's
That's
not a big
yeah.
deal. But I mean, I think it's gonna be Izzy Chimaev because you give Izzy a layup in Perth, like like a guy like Whitaker or Duplessis who's beaten up and worn down. You give him a layup, he has to take the Chimaev fight at that point, right? Like
If Chimaev fights, yeah.
he
The
must.
thing is, though, can Chimaev even get to UFC 300?
I mean, is he gonna return at that
Yeah.
point? Or are you gonna still?
Is he even gonna be able to travel to Vegas? Like, bro.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I think he'd be fine at that point. But you see, Guram is booked, has been booked, is fighting this weekend also.
Yeah, I see. I see.
He's fighting in Cannes.
Yeah, dude. Godam is. I guarantee you, he's not even gonna finish him. He's just gonna take him to
He's
a
gonna win like
miserly
a 30
decision.
27 decision. And
Yeah.
he'll be like they'll be like, oh, he's the next champ when he's literally like 33 at this point. Like
Yeah.
this, it's stupid. But you want to know something? So I was actually arguing look, I like Khabib. He's one of my 10 favorite fighters ever. But do you ever like does it ever bother you how everyone like overhypes him it's just like a guy overall? Like I know he's a nice dude, but like Khabib is a philosopher. Khabib's the greatest man alive. Like you see that
Who says this though? Like,
everywhere,
I
bro.
never see this these days.
Dude, I like I was watching his video and like they're like, oh, Khabib's a philosopher. Khabib's the smartest mind in MMA. You
Who the
don't see
fuck
this
was
stuff.
saying this?
Dude, I'm gonna read some of the comments, but it's just like these Khabib fans are like, it's crazy. You'd think that he had defended the belt 10 times. Hold on, let me find what else. You don't
Habib,
see any
bro.
of that?
No, man. I
Oh,
never see
look,
this these days.
this is it. He is the most wise fighter, philosopher.
Who? Wait, but like, is this a video title?
Couple years he's not and now what happened is that
But it's a Habib clip. You know, it's like it's a Habib clip. So of course those comments are gonna be on there.
And then another Khabib thing. People were going at me today because I was like, Khabib, I saw this video about Khabib never getting a cut or a scratch. And I'm like, and someone was like, he gets more cuts and scratches from sparring. I'm like, yeah, because Islam Makhachev would beat his ass in sparring. And then these
That's
Khabib
true.
fans went off on me. And then
What'd they say? What'd they say?
they're like, hold on. Because I was like, so someone was like that the man would get more bruises and cuts in training than he would ever do in his real fights. I'm like, because Islam would beat his ass in training. And then like this Salam or something, like I don't
Salam.
know. Was like, you for real, dude? Question mark. Islam beating Khabib? Question mark. Laughing. And then like someone else was like, Islam admitted himself that Khabib is stronger and better. And then I'm like, he's just being humble. And then I'm like, to the Salim guy, I'm like, obviously, like, and then
Yeah.
someone else was like, not even their own coach Job said it. Khabib never losing sparring, not even with Islam. And then someone was like, Samir Salam. I was like, I respect your decision, but you really have to check your brain, mate. Khabib said Islam beaten him before, and Islam was Khabib's father's favorite student.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Like, you know what I mean? Like these
Bro,
guys.
yeah, no, clearly they're glazing heavy on Habib. Habib did definitely have some glazers, but yeah, Islam's clearly better than him. Like,
Yeah, like I mean,
100%.
like, why do you think Khabib had so many bruises from like training? It was Islam would beat his ass. Like,
Yeah, bro, Islam used to fucking big brother him in training camp.
dude, why did like Islam? You never see Islam with bruises after training. Not
No,
really. You saw
yeah,
it more in that Volk fight than he has in training, and like
yeah.
Khabib's face is going into these press conferences. I
Yeah,
remember.
everyone knows that Islam would get the better of Habib. I think it's clear by now. It's just that some people like to just, again, you say he never lost a round as if that means anything against sparring against Islam, when it
And
doesn't.
also sparring against, fighting against like cans, I mean, not cans, but like guys who are just perfect stylistic matchups for him. Like Islam fucked Oliveira up. He
Yeah, and he beat Volk. Yeah,
like he's gonna have to fight Oliveira again. Like that's already harder than like the guys Khabib fought. Like it's just
yeah.
like
Gagey, white
they're
belt on the
they're
ground.
never gonna like it. It's so unfortunate because like like it's gonna be so hard for Islam to like be considered by everyone like better than Khabib
Yeah,
because
the issue though is that Islam's probably not going to stick around that long.
you don't think he's got to, I mean, he'll probably stick around for longer than Khabib. Like,
Oh yeah, probably. But I just get the idea that Islam defends 2 more times, then moves up.
but like, and it's gonna be unfortunate because people are gonna they're gonna be like, oh, Islam has a loss in his record. Islam got beaten up by Volkanovski. And if Islam loses at welterweight, they'll be like, Islam lost at
Got
welterweight.
beaten up by
When
Volk because
Khabib
Volk
didn't,
isn't shitty old Justin Gagey.
when Khabib didn't challenge himself, you know what I mean? Khabib was scared to go up. Like Islam is
Yeah.
doing what Khabib was scared to. I mean,
Islam's gonna fight Leon or
yeah, like I mean, Khabib never challenged himself like that. Like, you know, it's unfortunate because I do think Islam's a better fighter than Khabib. For sure. Like he's the better maybe Khabib out is the better wrestler, but like you can't tell me that Khabib's the better all-around fighter than freaking
I agree.
Islam's way better striker than Khabib was. Way better.
Yeah.
So I it's just unfortunate because nobody's ever gonna like he's always gonna be in Khabib's shadow, it feels. Which is just like, you know, it's sad, you know, because if imagine if Islam got that Conor fight back in the day. Like he would have been just as big as Khabib.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy how this happened. Like it really is.
But you know, Islam was younger and
Obviously,
he wasn't
you know, obviously that wasn't supposed to happen, but
yeah.
you know, it's just because Islam's a better fighter than Khabib. That's literally it. Islam is the better fighter. But nobody wants to admit it. I don't know why. Like it's a little like
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I agree.
crazy. It's crazy. But you know, I hope you know what I hope Islam defends his belt 5 times and moves up and wins the welterweight belt. You know, and that point you gotta say he's better than Khabib.
But yeah, that'll put an end to the doubt.
None of these Khabib fanboys could say anything at that point. Like
yeah, it's like the Khabib fanboys. These are the same guys that are rooting for Islam, but they'll just turn on him.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like they all shit on him against with Khabib. You compare him to Khabib, they shit on him. But then they cheer for him against like Oliveira or something. Like it's crazy. It really
it's like he brought dishonor upon them when he had a close fight with Volk, you know?
Yeah, like what? Because
imagine if Islam just like blew Volk out of the water as well.
Dude, they still would somehow say something about Khabib.
It'd be like Khabib would have done it faster.
Yeah, then they would be like, oh, well, Khabib never bled, never got a cut. He never lost the round. Like they'll say something like that, you know. They'll say Islam got knocked out early in his career. Like,
dude, even Charles is gonna pass Khabib at this rate.
Yeah, you don't want to know something? I actually think that Charles would probably beat Khabib if they fought. I
think that's possible.
I think Charles would beat Khabib, but I think Islam's gonna beat Charles again. Like I think
Charles would definitely do well with Khabib because again, it's like think about the striking. I think Charles would get the better of Khabib on the feet and on the ground. Everyone's like, well, you know, he would get mauled on the ground. No, Charles doesn't get mauled by anyone on the ground.
Let's be honest here with Khabib. Islam is way more careful on the ground and cautious.
Yeah,
way
Khabib
more
would get himself caught in some bad positions.
Yeah, how do we know that Khabib wouldn't get caught in?
Yeah, I'm confident Charles. I actually think Charles would beat him.
I think Charles would have for sure beaten Khabib, but I think with Islam, like Islam's better than Charles, obviously. And
yeah.
You still think Charles is going to beat Islam in the rematch? Because I think
I have a feeling, but I still, if you were to ask me who would I have to say has the better chance? I still think Islam is probably going to win, but I have a feeling that Charles is going to put him out.
I think Islam is for sure going to win. Like I'm very like, you know, I think.
You think he's going to? Oh, by the way, what do you think of Charles having a bunch of paintings of himself all over his apartment?
I haven't seen that.
Oh my gosh. Charles had a house tour on YouTube. Like everywhere in his house, he has massive paintings of himself all over the place. Dude, I don't think he's a humble guy at all. Like I think he's pretty fucking not with what I saw. To me,
it's hard.
That's a sign of a narcissist, like a really, maybe not narcissist, but that's a sign of someone that's obsessed with himself.
Yeah, I mean, I think Charles is an interesting guy. You know,
he is.
It's hard to really tell though because of the language barrier, obviously.
But who the fuck does that? Like, who puts all these paintings?
Islam's definitely not doing that. Even Conor,
no one does that. Not even like
I want to see
or LeBron do that.
I want to see that.
Or Messi.
Charles, I want to
house tour.
Oh, I want to actually see this.
Dude, it's bad. Like everywhere in the house, he's got fucking big, and even on a staircase.
Oh, when he's going upstairs, do see it.
It's belt. Like it makes sense if it's in a trophy.
Oh
room,
my!
But it's in his living room. Like, bro, that's some weird shit, man.
Wait, is that all it is? Oh my!
Dude, it's up the stairs. It's in the.
Oh, this is weird. This is weird. Hold on. It's a nice, very nice house, but like, oh my!
Yeah, for sure.
Too. All right, that's very weird. That's very weird.
Like, yeah, exactly, right? It's not just a picture. It's like he has someone painting his entire wall.
That's so weird.
I think that Charles is, again, I think all this Illuminato shit, like, of course he's religious, but I think it's more than that. I genuinely think he thinks he's like the chosen one or some shit.
It's hard
But
to
hey, you have to have that mentality, I guess.
it's hard to say though
For
because
Charles.
he because we the language barrier, you know, if he was speaking English, we would have a better idea, you know what I mean? Like what his
Yeah,
what
yeah,
his
yeah.
vibe is. But you know, Islam doesn't need to do that, you know. Islam bet you doesn't have a single poster of himself in his house.
Yeah, probably.
Probably not. Like he
Probably just has the belt in his house.
probably just puts his belt under his bed or something, and
Yeah,
that's
dude.
it. Like, you know,
Tucks
like
it in the attic.
yeah, like and then you know he brings it out for the press conference, and that's it. You know, maybe he'll
Yeah.
show his kids someday, you know, and that'll be it.
Right, right.
I don't think like Islam
Charles has,
like that.
serving his kids like chicken nuggets in the shape of his face and in the shape of him winning the belt.
Dude, but like when I know he has a daughter, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
isn't that like weird for like when as she gets older, you know, her dad is like all over the
The
house.
walls, yeah, it's like a little bit
Weird.
strange.
That's very strange, you know. But I don't know. I mean, but I think Islam's gonna fuck Charles up again. I do.
I could
I
just see Charles like blitzing him down,
you
you
think
know?
so? So what
Yeah.
does you think they do the trilogy if Charles wins?
Yeah, probably.
Dude, that trilogy would be massive.
Yeah.
But at that point, everyone will be like,
Dude, if
"Oh,
Charles wins, then we're all gonna be like, nah, no trilogy. Fuck that. Charles
oh,
already
dude, if
got the win
Charles
back.
wins, fuck the trilogy." That's what
Yeah,
we're
fuck the
yeah.
trilogy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
No,
screw the
if Charles
trilogy.
does win, we'll be like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, look, the thing
But
that
Islam fans are gonna be crying for the trilogy.
dude, no, the Islam fans are gonna be like Khabib would have never done this. Like, no, that's what they would turn on.
Ah, yeah, dude. That's why we need Islam to win.
They would turn on Khabib in a second.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
Oh,
they
they
would
turn
turn
on
on
Islam. Yeah, turn on
Islam.
Islam.
They would turn on Islam in a second. You know that. Like they'll for sure turn.
They'll say he was always a fraud.
After that Volkanovski fight, they were already turning on him, and
Yeah.
that was a fight that he won. Like, you know,
Yeah,
what I mean,
dude, exactly. He literally won that shit.
dude, that's just like these Khabib fans are toxic. You know, they really are. But I feel bad for Islam. I do. You know, because these aren't like real fans of his. Like
I'm a fan of Islam, bro. I'm a fan
I'm
of
a
most
fan
of
of
these
him too.
guys. Like the only guys that I don't really like that much. I'm gonna be honest, dude. I'm not really that big into Connor. I don't really like Connor that much these days.
I don't really care about Connor at this point. You know, like
Yeah.
I just
I prefer I like Islam. I like Charles. I'm not that big on O'Malley. I like Aljo. I like
I like
Jan.
Aljo now. By the way,
Most of these guys that we talk about, I'm a fan of.
I started. I really want Aljo to fuck up O'Malley.
Yeah.
I'm actually starting to really want that because I feel bad for Aljo because of like the quick turnaround, him never really getting credit and all that stuff. Like I want him to just fuck up O'Malley, a guy who's like, you know, Dana White has a Dana White privilege, all that stuff, you know. Like I want to see Aljo, like a less popular guy who's been tried getting screwed over by the UFC and, you know, gets a win against their top guy. So I would love that. And Ian Gary, I would say I like Ian Gary though. I think he's a nice, entertaining guy. You like Topuria though, even if
I like Topuria. I think he's a boss. Yeah.
he could be a star.
He's a boss. Yeah, yeah. He's obviously got the style of fighting. He's young, which is really good. He's popular in Spain. He had that like famous soccer player. What's his name?
Sergio
Ramos. Sergio Ramos. Yeah. He's got like a girlfriend who's a smoke show, as you said. You sent me that. Like
I was like Volk never.
No, I mean, like, you know, Volk doesn't have that kind of sauce for sure. I mean, like, yeah. But like, yeah, I think Ilia's a boss for sure. I think he's cool.
You see how many followers
and he's cocky as well. He's cocky. So he's like, he trash talks, which is great.
You see how many followers he gained from that fight?
How many followers did he have before?
Dude, he had like 600 something K.
Oh shit. So he's gained like almost 300K.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I think by the time
I hope Ilia becomes a champ. Like I like him to be a champ, and he would be knocking a lot of guys out. And it's good for the Spanish market. Like we don't really have a lot of Spain guys representing Spain. So, and he speaks Spanish, which is just good overall for the South American market too.
Also, you know, I mean,
yeah.
I think Ilia is going to be a big star. I think they should like what Paddy they thought they had. You know, like what
nah, dude. There's no way that'll never happen. I don't understand the Paddy comments. Like the thing is, like I understand it. Back in the day, people were like Paddy beats him or not Topuria beats him. But at this point, like why even bring Paddy up? Because we know that's never going to happen, and like we know Paddy's not in that league.
I mean, I wonder what's happening with Paddy now. Like I really.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I kind of like want to see Paddy fight.
I
Like I
do. I
really
mean,
do.
I can't say he's not entertaining at all. You know,
Yeah,
like
he brings eyes. He brings in the
maybe I
eyes.
don't. I mean, look, I didn't mind Paddy before that decision, but it's just the way he handled that decision. You know,
I think it's going to be him and Jared Gordon. I'd love
think
to see
so?
that fight again.
Yeah, that'd be a fight night main event.
Yeah, because I would pick Jared Gordon.
You pick Jared Gordon.
And I think this time it's going to be a war.
I think
I think Paddy's going to go in there like improved, but Jared Gordon's still going to be like decent. And I'd love to see that.
I think Paddy wins the rematch.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
Because we're talking about a guy like Jared Gordon, you know, like it's
Gordon's
like
coming off of a bad KO too.
yeah, I mean the head clash, you know, he tried making weight and then they
UFC caught him out. Yeah.
Some weird stuff. So I think Paddy, you know, he's recovering, stuff like that. He wasn't 100% in that fight. Nobody's 100%, but you know, he
Dude, also Paddy versus Bobby Green. I like that matchup.
Dude, Bobby Green would kill him.
Yeah, but Green's getting old. I know. I think Green would beat him for sure, but I'd like to see it.
Or you put him versus Drew Dober.
Nah, dude, that's too easy for Drew Dober. Like, you have to have someone to step under Dober.
Yeah, maybe Terrence
Green is like a small step below.
Maybe Terrence
Dober.
McKinney. What about Terrence McKinney?
I think McKinney would knock him out.
Yeah, but I mean, fuck Paddy, you know, like.
But I want to see a fight where Paddy Pimblett's not just gonna get KO'd. I want to see him like, you know, have a chance where he could submit a guy.
So you want Paddy to win?
I don't necessarily really need him to win, but it would be good to see him like actually have a fight where he can at least like have a chance, because it's like if there's no way he wins, why is it interesting? Like what makes a fight interesting is, okay, this guy could definitely get the win, and Paddy, if he can get someone down, he could submit them. So
yeah, I wonder who, you know, Jared Gordon fight probably is his best chance to get a win too.
Yeah, or maybe you could do Garam.
No.
All I know is this: Garam's not finishing Paddy.
You don't think so?
Nah, dude. Garam scooting by to a 30-27. Still a good win. He would outclass Paddy, but you already know Garam's got those pillow hands on deck.
Fuck around, bro. I mean,
dude, I feel like I could go 3 rounds with him.
With Garam, he'll lay on you for.
Nah, dude. He would actually submit me in like the first minute, probably.
Dude, that guy's ripped though. Like,
yeah, he's shredded to the bone.
What do you think he how much weight do you think he cuts? You think he doesn't cut that much weight because he's already like.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, he probably doesn't cut that much weight because he doesn't seem that big for a lightweight. I know he's I think he's like 5'11", maybe even 6 foot. But he's not that. He doesn't strike me as a guy that's very big. So I feel like he doesn't cut that much weight.
Too wrong. How isn't he like 32 or something?
I think so. He's 33, I think.
He's 31. I mean, so I mean,
oh, okay, damn.
You know, he could still be good, but I don't know. I mean, not like he's not gonna make a title run. Let's be honest.
He's 5'10". Yeah, you know, listen, I think it's gonna be interesting to see. If he can't get a finish, then everything that I've said about him is a fact.
Also, by the way, you know who I think is a lock this weekend? You know how I told you
last week? Garam is so shredded. How the fuck does this guy walk around like this?
He doesn't cut a lot of weight, definitely not. You could tell. Yeah. But you know who I think is a lock for sure this weekend? Damir Ismagulov.
Grant Dawson? I'm picking Grant.
I think Damir. I think Damir is really a lock. I think he's very good still. I still think all the stuff before I picked Armin for that fight. I did.
Yeah.
But I still thought Damir was very good leading up to that fight and, had some potential. And I know that Grant Dawson's like decent. I mean, he's good, but I think Damir could be like a top 12 fighter in the lightweight division potentially. Like, I think he's pretty good. I just think, what's his name is, Arman is amazing. I truly think Arman's amazing. So that's kind of how I kind of see it. But you're picking Grant Dawson?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Grant. I think Grant Dawson, first of all, Damir Ismagulov just retired for a little bit and like took time off. He's not dangerous on the feet. He doesn't have a lot of power in his hands. He's well-rounded, of course, but as far as finishing ability, I don't see it at all. And I think that Grant Dawson is just I prefer a guy that's gunning for those finishes. I think he's going to be more dangerous. So I think Dawson's going to get it done. I think Dawson's probably going to submit him or take him out by decision.
He did have a draw with Ricky Glenn though.
Dawson? Okay, fair enough. But he's young. He's much younger.
Yeah, he's 29, so he still is improving. Damir is 32, so it's like It's not great, but I mean,
And Dawson's one of his main sparring partners is
he beat
Poirier. I
Garam
think that's
too.
really good for
He
him.
beat Garam. Damir beat Garam.
Yeah, but that was, it wasn't that impressive.
Yeah, no, that's just funny. But no, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wonder who Shavkat's gonna fight next. Also, speaking of,
Probably
you think they're gonna do the gas
Bilal.
fight? You think that
I think I'd like to see Gastelum. Yeah, that'd be a fun fight.
that could be on the Mexican card? You know, that could be on that. Like,
Grant Dawson submitted Jared Gordon, submitted Mark Madsen, Leonardo Santos. Yeah, I could definitely see, I have to watch this tape back, but it's a close fight. Like, I'm not that
Ryan
confident.
Glenn, Ricky Glenn.
Yeah,
That's not that's a bad look. But I think this card isn't terrible.
it's a
Isn't
great card. I like it. That's a really good.
Bonfim? Bonfim's the guy who knocked out McKim. Yeah, yeah.
No. That's his brother. That's
No,
this
no,
is
this is the same guy.
no. Bonfim. What division is this?
It's lightweight.
Oh, okay. Well, then that is, yeah, you're right.
This guy's good. He's good. I think he could. I think he's gonna wait. He's minus 320. Yeah, I'm not taking that, but he's a lock. Also, Kevin Lee's in this card. That now that I
Yeah.
forgot. Kevin Lee. I mean, that'll be interesting. I think he'll probably lose, but like that's also a Mavov versus Romanov. Like I know, like that's gonna be like not a great fight at all, but like for a prelim fight, that's good.
Pretty good.
No, this card is actually pretty good. Honestly,
It is.
Lipsky sucks, but she's good to look at.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think I'm excited. And
Michael Morales, watch out for him. Amazing prospect.
what's
Very
a
good
good parlay? Good parlay.
Strickland, Bonfim,
and Morales
and Guram.
and Garam. Yeah,
Dude, imagine if Guram loses.
dude,
I'll
that'd
be
be
cheering from the
hilarious.
mountaintops.
That'd be hilarious. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I think that was a good podcast.
Yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe. Comment your prediction for Yair versus Volk. Have a good one, guys.